Hi Rick, how you doing?
I'm alright.
You alright?
Yeah.
What brings you in to counseling?
2 weeks ago, there was a fire at my apartment. Okay. Now everybody's alright.
Everybody's alright?
Well, everybody that was in my apartment is alright.
Okay.
And everybody I knew was alright. But it was scary. And so what happened was, the electricians had just come in. They were doing some work.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what they were doing. I was at work, but they were doing something, and I thought everything was fine. All the lights worked. Everything was good. So I just came back from work, and I was asleep. I was kind of dozing off, and I thought I was still awake, but so I started hearing these sparks, and I'm still asleep. I'm not really sure what's going on, but so I started hearing these sparks, and then next thing I know, I wake up, and there's just smoke everywhere. Like everywhere. Like I couldn't see anything. My eyes were tearing up. Like I couldn't keep them open from all that smoke and stuff. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know where the door was. I was in a panic. Nothing made sense in that moment.
Really scary.
Really, yeah, it was. So I panicked, and I didn't know what to do, and I was freaking out. And so it must have been at that point that the fireman came in. Now my brother was also in the apartment. He must have gotten out at the same time I did. I don't know, but we're both safe, and everything's fine. But it scared me, and it makes you think about the things that you take for granted. Like I go to work all the time, all the time, and I do overtime, and I go in on Saturdays and even Sundays if they would let me. Just trying to make more money and buy more things and pay off this and do that and this and that, whatever, get more cars and all kinds of stuff, And then this happened, and none of it was really worth anything. Everything was gone in the fire anyway, so what's that matter, And, all the time that I didn't spend with my family that I could have. And it just made me second guess all of it. I used to want to get all kinds of stuff, but now I'm like, that's not what I want anymore. And I don't know. It's kind of weird,
So like the way you relate to the world, like you have a new perspective on it.
Yeah, definitely. And it happened like that. Like how they say that stuff kind of flashes before your eyes when you think that you're gonna die. It's kind of what happened. Like I didn't think about all my stuff first. I thought about like, I'm leaving all these people behind. I didn't think about any of the stuff. I thought about people.
So at the moment you're facing death, because you thought that was
I thought
it,
it was
right?
it. I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought any second. Yeah.
That this life would be over.
Yeah.
So at that moment when you're thinking that, you're really, what you're saying is you weren't thinking about all that you earned or advances in your career.
Nope.
None of that really seemed to come into play at that last, what could have been that last moment.
Yeah. No. No. I didn't think of any of it. But I've worked so hard to get to that, to that point. I didn't think of any of it. It was all useless in that moment because you kind of think of what's really worth it,
So what do you think is valuable now?
I don't know, things that'll make a lasting impression, like people, like family, like having relationships with people, like being with your parents and your siblings and people that your friends, that stuff that really makes a difference,
So those relationships, those people, they have value, and it seems like you're kind of relating to that world more than like the world of objects.
Yeah.
Which is what you seem to be relating to more before. And it's because of this really frightening experience where you could have lost your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with the insurance company and all that, but it's almost like I don't even want to buy any more stuff off the money they give, like, what's it really going to matter anyway, Thankfully, I still have all the people that I know and love, but just like that, it could have been over.
Had that ever occurred to you before this incident?
I mean, you think about it. You think about it sometimes, You're like, wow, really, I could die any second, and I'm not going to see it coming, maybe, But it's a whole different thing when you experience it, It's like, that really could have been it.
It could have been it. So before, it was kind of more abstract, the way you thought about death.
Yeah. I mean, before I really kind of felt invincible. Like, I'll die eventually, but not for 60 years. Maybe I'll reach 100.
So no real need to think about it now. That's something
for the future,
way down the road.
Yeah.
But now the concept for you is a little more concrete.
Yeah.
Because of what happened.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's kind of pushed into your view. Like that's what you're seeing now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's not. I don't think I really think about it that often. Like, oh, I could die right now. It's not an anxious kind of thing, but I guess it's an awareness kind of thing. That I could, or that have I been the person that I want to be, or have I done what I wanted to do, or have I been with the people that I wanted to be with, or things like that, that I don't know, it just kind of makes this new mentality, I guess.
So everyone who dies under some set of circumstances and does things prior to that. And maybe what's troubling you is you want to know that you've done all you can do with the people that are important to you. So when your time does come, which I hope would be way far in the future, you can appreciate that you really lived the way you wanted to live.
Yeah.
Is that close?
Yeah.
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 And in that moment with the fire, that's not the thought you were having. You think maybe you didn't use all the time in the way that would have been the best.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of regrets, like, what if I had went to see my parents more, or, what if I had went to, I don't know, spend time with friends more, or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
It's a scary thought, but it's real,
Yeah, I guess for you, it really kind of real all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So there's a jolt that you had. This really kind of really changed your perspective.
You come to this realization real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something you think through. It's like immediate, in the moment. I'm about to die. This is my thought. Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, it's not something you can even replicate. I could never replicate that thought in that short amount of time with that intensity.
Yeah, so you've had a strong, frightening experience, and you've come out of it kind of existing, relating to another world on top of the world you were relating to.
Yeah.
So it's objects, not so much now, more people.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned you didn't care about the objects, like with the insurance and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like, why would I? Why would I return to that? You said the world, so why would I want to return to that world of stuff, of objects, of accumulating things, and just be right back where I was,
So it sounds to me like you want to channel this really negative and scary experience into something that can change your life for a positive, in a positive way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it already has, really.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a part of me that just can never go back to that, to an old mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah.
Just it's kind of broken you free, or it's helped you break free.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
In terms of the way you think and relate and what you value.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It forced you, in a sense, to take a hard look at your values.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. A quick, immediate look at the way I live my life. Yeah.
So what do you think you can take moving forward from this experience?
You know, really, I think about the thought that I had when I was in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is the end, and the who instead of the what. You know, and really, I think about that way. I think about that all the time. You know, whatever I do, you know, if I'm at work doing something, and this thought pops in my head, just this feeling, I guess, I feel this feeling of, because that's a similar feeling that I felt when I was, you know, in the fire. I thought it was the end, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me kind of reconsider what I'm doing, you know, instead of, say, like the other day, instead of working, yeah, it was lunchtime, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Normally what I do is just work right through it. You know, get more done, and that's what my boss likes. But instead, I'm like, that's not what this is about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and I had lunch with some of my friends that I work with, you know, and there was, it made me feel good, you know, and it was like this is more so what it's about, you know. If I'm going to be at work, I should really get to know the people that I'm working with, and you know.
So in that moment of having lunch with them, you were feeling like you were really living life more the way you wanted.
Yeah, yeah.
And when your first inclination before the fire would have been work through lunch.
Like, you know, work through lunch, get more stuff done. Then the boss will like me, have me come in on Saturday, maybe Sunday. But now it's like, why would I ever come in on Saturday or Sunday? Like, I don't need to, you know. I can spend time with other people, you know, or even during lunch I can spend time with other people, or I can, you know, go walk around outside. Like I did that the day after. So it was like, well, you know, maybe I could see if they want to walk around too. And we did, and it was great. And there's a fulfillment there, you know, that I didn't have before. I thought everything was going smooth before, and it was, but there wasn't an excitement there. There wasn't a vibrancy. The kind of stuff that I'm feeling now that I want to feel, you know. That's kind of what it's about.
So it made the world, in a sense, in that moment, it made the world a much scarier place. But now it's made the world a place where you can be happier.
Yeah. Enjoy it more. Appreciate it more. Yeah.
So you've had a lot of insight in a really short amount of time. And you feel like the trajectory of your values of your life has changed.
Yeah.
Like you maybe finding more meaning.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, what a really powerful story. I mean, frightening and also value changing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot to reflect on. It sounds like that's what you've been doing. You've been reflecting on,
Yeah.
particularly that specific thought that you had in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that thought's coming back and maybe reminding you of something that you want to think of.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Not the scary part, but more the what do I value part.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thought that keeps coming back.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, there's no anxieties there or anything, you know, or no real, you know, fear that stops me or anything, but it is more the positive stuff. Like, what am I going to do with this now? You know?
Well, what a again, a powerful story. I'm glad everybody's okay.
Yeah.
You know, And I think that you've taken away a lot from a brief, powerful fighting experience.
Yeah.
And it seems like you're really trying to channel it in a direction that's going to allow you more freedom and fulfillment out of life.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So let's do this. I'll see you again in a week.
Mm-hmm.
If that works for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep reflecting on how your values now are seeming to you, what they look like now as compared to what they look like before. Because that's really what there is here. There's a discrepancy between like a new version of you, an old version of you.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So if you could reflect on some of that, and kind of tell me, like, much like you told me here, like what you've done differently, what's really changing, and let's see what kind of insight we can uncover into how you're relating with these different environments.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Definitely.
Great. Well, I appreciate you coming in, and I'll see you in a week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.